What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Mack Lessons Radio. And I'm your host, Tariq Nasheed, also known as King Flex. Put it all together and you have Tariq King Flex Nasheed. How's everybody doing out there? Glad to have you all back on another edition of Mack Lessons Radio. We're broadcasting live from Los Angeles, and as usual, I'm flowing straight from the survival scrolls. Now, today's show, we're going to be talking about lesbian and bisexual women. I've been getting a lot of emails from guys wanting to know my opinion on that. A lot of guys have been wanting me to touch on it, talk about that. I got a buzz from my partner over at the Flow magazine, Shackster, Shack Daddy. What's up, Big Pimpin'? Down there in Panama City Beach. My boy Shack Daddy wanted me to touch on this subject because he was talking about how deep it is down there. And it's like everywhere, the whole bisexual lesbian thing. I want to shout out the Flow magazine at theflowonline.com. That's one of the best online hip-hop magazines out there. Flowonline.com. Check that out. And y'all can't forget to check out MackLessons.com, where you can get that Mack Lessons DVD. If you don't have the Mack Lessons DVD right now, you're slipping. You got to get that Mack Lessons DVD. Soak up all that good game. MackLessons.com, and check out the official UPA.com. That's the United Players of America.com. That's the message board where players all around the world can get together, chop up game, and keep it PI to your DI. Now, before we get into today's show, I want to remind everybody that I will be at Colgate University. Colgate is out there by Syracuse, New York. That's in like upstate New York. A lot of my New York City cats wanted to come out, but I know it's 5 hours away from like Manhattan. So we're trying to set up some stuff in the tri-state area. And I know the venue out there at Colgate University, they had to change venues because they didn't know those many people were going to come. It's already almost sold out. I'll be trying to tell motherfuckers to have their shit right. But it's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time. That's October 24th, Colgate University, upstate New York. And I might be doing a lecture down at the University of Birmingham that same week. We're working all that stuff out now. We're negotiating with them now down at UAB. So you guys look out for that. Also, next week, next Wednesday, September 27th, I will be back on the Adam Carolla morning show. Adam Carolla is on 97.1 out here in Los Angeles, and his show is syndicated nationwide. I know it's in New York, Portland, the Bay, a few other cities I can't name off the dome right now. But check your local listings for the Adam Carolla morning show. I will be on there spitting straight from the survival scrolls. So let's get into today's game. I got an email from a brother named Tashawn. And Tashawn is in a relationship, and he's talking about how the sex in the relationship is kind of going downhill. And he is telling his woman that he wants to bring in another woman. He wants to bring another female into the bedroom, and he wants to know my opinion on that. He wants to know, is that a good move? What should he do? Now, my thing is, if your woman is square and you've been in a square relationship with your woman for a minute, I don't really think that's a good idea. You got to get a woman who kind of swings that way anyway. You have to establish that kind of relationship in the beginning. I think that will change the direction of the relationship. That'll bring a whole different dynamic into the relationship. and ultimately that relationship will fizzle out because too many emotional things will come into play. Your square lady, she might get jealous. You might get jealous if your lady likes it too much. There's so many other dynamics that will come into play. I think Tashawn just wants to go out there and bang other bitches, and he's just using this as an excuse to relinquish any kind of guilt. So my answer to you, Sean, is just go out there and just get you some women who are just down like that. If you want to get into threesomes and foursomes and just swing that way, get women who are just down with that anyway. I don't think you should be in a committed relationship and then all of a sudden, hey, let's bring another bitch in here. That's going to just put a taint on everything, especially if you have what we call a square woman. You feel me? Because if your woman came home and just, wanted some off-the-wall shit, that would kind of put a taint on it. If your woman came home and said, yeah, you know what, I want to have sex with a donkey, bring a donkey into the bedroom, or whatever, that would be like, shit. Just the fact that she's inquiring about that would just make you put the magnifying glass on her. Or if your woman was just into strange stuff so all of a sudden, she just wants to be choked and beaten all of a sudden, when she's usually very docile in the bedroom, that will change the whole dynamic. You're going to look at her differently. Your lady's going to look at you differently, and the whole vibe is going to be off. So I don't even think you should go there. Now, as far as bisexual women and lesbian women, I have a few views on them. Now, I have to say that a lot of lesbian women are fans of my stuff. A lot of lesbian women are fans of my books. A lot of lesbian women have come to my lectures. So I really don't have a problem with them per se. I really don't have a problem with bisexual women. You like what you like. But I do have a few opinions on it. A lot of guys ask me, why do certain women date what's known as studs? A more derogatory term would be bull dykes. And it is kind of strange to see a woman dating another woman who's pretending to be a man. It's kind of confusing. Because a lot of guys think, well, damn, if she's going to date a woman who's acting and dressing and looking like a man, why don't she just get a man? That's the natural question that a lot of guys have. A lot of guys ask that. And there are a few reasons why women become lesbian or bisexual. Now, some women are just lesbians. Some women just like other women. It's that simple. But as we noticed, there are a lot of bisexual women popping up out of nowhere, especially in the black community. A lot of quote-unquote bisexual women. So why is that? There are a few reasons why there are a lot of bisexual women now. One reason a lot of women are bisexual, or they like to act bisexual, especially out in public. Like when you go to the club and you see women dance with other women, and these are straight clubs. These are not gay clubs. Now, back in the day, bisexual and lesbian women, they would go to bisexual and lesbian clubs. Now you go to a regular club, any club you go to, you see women kissing and dancing and fingering each other. These are what I call attention lesbians, or attention bisexual women. They're only bisexual, or they're only acting like lesbians in order to get attention. They act like this because they know that guys will watch them perform like this. If they perform sexually in a crowd, people will look at them. These women are just desperate for attention. We've all seen it, guys. You go into a club and Two girls are just on the dance floor acting a fucking fool, grinding on each other like two idiots. Now, to me, that's corny. It's very corny. Even if you're grinding on another dude, that shit would be corny. But the fact that both of you guys are just showing out, come on now, that's corny. Take that shit somewhere else. Now, another reason why a lot of bisexual women will get into relationships with studs is because of a need of attachment. A lot of women need attachment. They need to be attached to somebody. And a lot of bisexual women are women who are very promiscuous. A lot of bisexual women are women who have a lot of emotional damage. And these are from my own experiences. I know a lot of women like that, and these are from my own experiences. Now, if you're a bisexual woman and you don't have any emotional damage, good for you. I'll give you a cookie later when I see you. But a lot of bisexual women are women who have a little emotional bullshit going on. And it's hard for them to maintain a relationship with a man outside of sex. These women become promiscuous in order to get that attention, in order to get attachment. But in many cases, when guys hit it, they just go ahead and split. They don't really want to have a relationship with an emotionally damaged woman. On the other hand, a woman who has a lot of emotional damage and emotional baggage can get into a relationship with another woman. That stud will come in there and have a sexual encounter with her, but that stud will still stick around. Because basically that relationship is almost like a role-playing phenomenon. They're role-playing. She's playing the role of a dude. She's playing the role of the submissive woman. They're role-playing with one another. So they can do that shit all day long. The studs have no problem with that. And for the bisexual woman, the female, the femme out of the group, you know, you have the stud and you have the femme. The femme is content with that temporarily. See, a lot of women will date these studs, these manly-looking women. They'll just date them until a real man comes along. It's some deep stuff. And in most cases, in many cases, when a woman is bisexual, if she's dating a stud, it's kind of a temporary thing, because at the end of the day, she's going to still want to get with the man. The novelty of being with a stud, that kind of wears off after a while. And at the end of the day, she's going to be like, oh, I need a dude. Some real deep psychological stuff. See, fellas, you have to understand women. Women have an innate need of completion. Let me break it down to you. Men are the only fully complete species on the earth. Men. The human man. We're complete. In the chain of evolution, the human man is the only complete creature. Everything else is below the human man. The human man is on top of the food chain. Got that? Now, theoretically, women are incomplete. Scientifically speaking, I'm not, don't write letters saying, oh, he's saying women aren't complete. This is some science shit. Don't trip. When a fetus is in the womb, every fetus starts off as female. Every fetus has female genitalia. Following me? Every fetus in the womb has female genitalia. Now, when or if this fetus fetus completes itself, it will grow male genitalia. If it does not grow male genitalia, it remains female. But if it completes itself fully, it becomes male. So therefore, the female genitalia is an incomplete male. You understand that? So females, women are generally incomplete, and they need the male seed to complete themselves. This is why women have a biological clock, because you have to complete yourself in order to procreate. Women need a man to complete themselves mentally. You need that male seed. Women need that. It's very important to women. Now, in a lot of cases, when a woman doesn't have a man in her life to complete her, women will try to complete themselves. Women will become manly in their personality. Women will take on masculine characteristics. You ever look at women in the hood? A lot of women in the hood just don't have men in their lives. And this is where you see a lot of real stud-ass lesbian women. And not just stud lesbian women. You just have a lot of masculine-looking-ass women in the hood. After a while, these women take on manly characteristics. They start acting like a man, talking tough like a man, carrying themselves like men. They take on masculine characteristics, trying to complete themselves when they don't have a man in their lives. And even if a woman is feminine, she's going to still have to have a man in her life, and that stud dyke is a temporary man. You following me, fellas? So like I said, these women will date these studs until a real man comes along. And these studs, some studs are cool. You have different types of studs. You know, a lot of them will take on those unisex names. Because sometimes you look at these studs and you can't even tell if they're a man or a woman. You don't really know. But one way to tell is look at their names. A lot of studs will adopt unisex names. A lot of stud lesbians, they'll have names like Lynn. They'll have names like Stacy, Robin, Pat, Dana. Names like that where you can't really tell what they are, because they don't want to come out and just come up with a man's name and they're not really a man, you know. Because they don't really want to admit that they're trying to be men. A lot of them act like they hate men, but they try to be men. So it's some real deep psychological shit that comes into play as far as that. But as far as dating women or dealing with women who are bisexual and women who like to deal with studs, a lot of women who have relationships with other women like that, because there's a difference between just a female who just wants to lay up with a couple of women every now and then. A lot of women like doing that. A lot of women just simply like to play with other women. But women who just fully commit to a relationship with another female who's acting like a man, these are women, again, with a lot of psychological issues, a lot of women with emotional issues. So you're not really missing out on nothing with that anyway. And again, it's a role-playing thing. Now you have two types of butch lesbian stud women. You have two types. You have the player studs, then you have the gangsta bitch studs. Now the female player studs, I'm cool with them. I don't mind those women. Those women are pretty cool. I can chop it up with those women because it's just like chopping it up with one of the homies. These women are just lesbians who just like women and they just want to spit game just like every other dude does. They see a woman they like, they just walk up to her and just, hey, what's your name? How you doing? My name is Stacy. What's your name? They just spit regular game, and these women are generally cool. They kind of know their place. You know, they play the stud role, but they're aware that they're women. And a lot of these women still have a touch of femininity. They're not just like raw with it. A lot of the player studs, they still have feminine traits. Even though they're somewhat masculine, they'll still put on a little rouge, a little lip liner, and they'll do their thing. Like Ellen DeGeneres, I think Ellen is like a player stud. Ellen, she has feminine characteristics. Ellen is cool. I like Ellen. But then you have the gangsta bitch studs. Now the gangsta bitch studs, these are the women who are very aggressive when it comes to spitting game and other women. Them gangsta bitch studs go overboard with trying to act masculine. These gangsta bitch studs are worse than any dude that a woman can encounter. Women, y'all know what I'm talking about. When you women go hang out at them lesbian clubs, at them bisexual clubs, and you get one of them gangsta studs, they're worse than any dude that you've ever encountered, because they will punk the hell out of you. Them gangsta studs will roll up on you like niggas, grab your hand, they'll beat your ass. I knew a girl. I met a girl one time and she was dating one of those gangster studs, and the gangster stud bitch had cut her and stabbed her all in the arm. I'm looking at her like, how you gonna let another bitch stab you up? But them gangster stud bitches, they roll like that. And those are the women that a lot of guys have a problem with, because these gangster studs, they act like men, and they come at people overly aggressive, and they come at men sideways like that too. And they know that a lot of cats can't really do nothing because of so many domestic violence laws, because at the end of the day, she's still a woman. So they know this, they're fully aware of this, so they know how to get into guys' faces and talk all that bullshit. Yeah, I hear stories of guys going out to clubs and they're kicking it, and then a girl that they're trying to talk to, her stud walks up and gets all in their faces. I hear stuff like that all the time. Those gangster bitch studs, they love doing that. They try to punk out everybody. I say knock the shit out of one of them bitches if they roll up on you. Me, I don't play with females like that. I don't play with anybody like that. If you man enough to be all up in motherfuckers' faces, you should be man enough to get the shit knocked out of you. That's my opinion. I know that's not a politically correct opinion, but I hear stories all the time from brothers like, yeah, man, I was at the club and this big old gangster dyke got all in my face talking shit. I just don't play like that. If one of them bitches get in my face, I'm gonna knock the femininity back in her ass. She fuck with me, she be wearing a sundress and some heels with a flower in her hair. One of my pimp partners said, he's like, the problem that a lot of those women have is that when it's just them in the room, they're the man. But when a real player comes in the room, they go back to being an ugly bitch. That's one of my partners. He said that. Very funny shit. Very true shit. So when you step to a woman who's bisexual, don't trip on that. A lot of women are bisexual in the black community. A lot of women are lesbian and bisexual simply because they have to take on, or they feel like they need to take on the characteristics of what they don't have. A man. They need that. A lot of women are bisexual for experimental purposes. That's cool. And some women, like I said, they just like licking on other women. They just like getting ate out by another woman. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. Some women just like the physical gratification they get. But the women who get in actual relationships with studs and go back and forth, you gotta watch those women. A lot of them have emotional baggage. A lot of them have emotional damage. You gotta watch them. You gotta watch them, player. And a lot of women who are in the game, a lot of women who are hustlers, they're bisexual. A lot of strippers, hoes, call girls, escorts, a lot of those women are bisexual because, like I said, these women need attachment, and it's hard for women in the game to have attachment outside of sexual gratification. So they get with people who can understand them. They get with people who are going to stick around them after the sexual gratification is over, which is understandable. A lot of women in the game, they understand other women and other hustlers, male hustlers. And there are not too many male hustlers out there. These women would love to get with a guy who's going to deal with them outside of just sexual gratification. And that's what you want to be, fellas. If you want to deal with women like this on a regular basis, you got to learn how to trump that pussy card and be there with the woman emotionally if you want to roll with her like that. Especially women in the game. You feel me? And again, if you guys out there, you want to have threesomes with women, you got to get a woman who already has a foot in the game already. I don't think it's a good idea to try to get your square woman to swing like that after you've been in a square relationship for a while. You start how you end. The way you start in a relationship is how you end up in a relationship. And you can't change the contracts during the playoffs. You got to maintain a certain continuity in the relationship if you want it to work. And if you're not ready to be in a committed relationship right now, don't get in one. If you the kind of dude you feel like you want to have threesomes and all that shit, and you want to get with bisexual women, and don't get in no committed relationship, player. Get that shit out your system. Lay up with you 2 or 3 bras at the same time and then wife somebody up. Don't do it in reverse. Anyway, that's been today's episode of Mack Lessons.